reform in arbitration procedure in detail, and our conclusions are as follows. We don't believe that it's feasible or practicable to register one of base deals as permanent arbitration centers, because there are very few of them that have been accredited by the government, and it's almost kind of monopoly. There are very few of them, and it was partially a political decision to credit sort of some of them. So I don't believe it's feasible to have permanent arbitration for Beis Din, but to be honest, it's not necessary, because we still have an option of ad hoc arbitration, and it's much easier and practicable. Obviously, the idea of the legislature was to have limited authority for these ad hoc arbitration forums, but limited to the extent which is still acceptable. For example, permanent arbitration centers, if you arbitrate there, you can expressly provide in your arbitration clause that decision of this permanent arbitration center is final and you cannot challenge it in the Russian court. For ad hoc arbitration, which would be workable for Beis Din, as I said, you wouldn't be able to do that. But it's not the end of the world, because in most of the Western countries, you can challenge Beis Din judgment in the state court. So it's not something which is incompatible with Jewish law. So although ad hoc arbitrations wouldn't be sort of the same, would have the same powers as permanent arbitration centers, you still can do that, and you don't need to register as permanent arbitration center. And I think the discussion that Anatoly and Ravpid has had in the past was obviously in a different legal environment. So now it's different, but ad hoc arbitration still works. And in terms of your question of enforcing other Beis Din countries, Beis Din other countries in Russia, it's still possible. And actually, I mentioned that option as one of the preferred ones. So you can enforce Beis Din judgment if it is structured as arbitration forum, and it would be recognized in Russia as ruling of arbitration court, and should be enforced under New York Convention, subject to those usual limited carve-outs like public policy and mandatory provisions of Russian law. And also, vice versa would also work. If you structure your Beis Din as arbitration forum in Russia, you should be able to enforce this as arbitration award in other countries under New York Convention. So actually, as we all agreed, legally you can structure all this sort of perfectly. And then there are all these practical considerations that we face. But I think that the idea of some international Beis Din in a neutral jurisdiction with enforcement in Russia is a workable one. It can be even some neutral jurisdictions, jurisdiction like Switzerland. Yeah, and you have Beis Din in Zurich with Dayanim who are completely sort of neutral to Russian sort of affluent persons, and then you take this ruling and enforce it in the Russian court. Did it happen in the past? No, but it doesn't mean that we cannot sort of do this in the future. So let's see.
If I may,